Good morning, students. Welcome back to English class. How are you all? Okay, hope that all of you are keeping fine. So, last day we were discussing the story A Day in the Country. We discussed the first part of the story. Can you say who are the main characters there? Who are the main characters? Okay, the first one is Terenti, a cobbler. Then, okay, Danilka, young boy, and Fiokla, a little girl. And we saw this Danilka was in a trouble. As Fiokla says, what happened? Danilka met with an accident. What was the accident? What was the accident? Okay. Danilka put his hands into the hole of a tree to take the eggs of birds. But what happened? He couldn't take his hands back. It got stuck in the hole of the tree. So, Fiokla had come in search of Terenti to help Danilka. Okay. And also we saw the description of the climate. Even though it was morning, what are the details given there? It was dark, it was going to rain, there was lightning, there was thunder, and a frightening, in a sense, a frightening situation is mentioned. And however, Fiokla tells everything to Terenti, and Terenti was ready to help Danilka, so they were rushing to the spot where Danilka got stuck. And by the time it started raining. Okay, up to that we have complete. So we'll come to the next part of it. We shall get soaked, Fiokla, matters Terenti. Soaked. It's the meaning of soaked. Okay, get wet. Because we know that it is raining. So as it is raining, we will get wet. There won't be a dry spot left on us. Oh, my girl, it's run down my neck. It's run down my neck. What? The rain drops. But don't be frightened. So if it rains, there is nothing to be frightened. And in the case of these three, that is Terenti, Fiokla, and Danilka, we see they were living together with nature, we can say. They were not at all afraid of nature. They found happiness in living with nature. So that's what we experience in the story. The grass will be dry again, the earth will be dry again, and we shall be dry again. There is the same sun for us all. So, even though there is a little trouble now, what's the trouble? They will get wet, they will be soaked. Terenti says that after some time, even though we have a difficult time, afterwards there will be a happy time or a good time for us. So, don't be frightened, don't be disheartened if you have an unpleasant time. Everything will be over and you will have a bright time. That's why it is mentioned. Everything will be bright again. There is the same sun for us all. A flash of lightning, some 14 feet long, gleams above their head. So already we know that there was lightning and thunder. There is a loud peal of thunder, and it seems to Fiokla that something big, heavy, and round is rolling over the sky and tearing it open exactly over her head. So very simply we can say that there was thunder, lightning, and heavy rain. And we know that if there is thunder, we will feel that something is rolling there over the sky. May something sometimes appear like that. Here also the same thing is mentioned. Holy, 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 says Terenti. Don't be afraid, little girl. It is not from spite that it thunders. So sometimes children are afraid of thunder, and that's why Terenti says, don't be afraid. It is not from spite that it thunders. Spite means scorn or dislike. Okay, if there is a thunder, don't be afraid. There is no dislike to you, and it won't hurt small children. And all that's what he tried to tell, to comfort her, to console her. Terenty's and Fiocla's feet are covered with lumps of heavy wet clay. It is slippery and difficult to walk, but Terenty strides on more and more rapidly. So as it was raining, the road became muddy, slushy. They couldn't walk freely, but Terenty strides on more and more rapidly. He was walking fast, rapidly fast. What does it show? Why was he walking fast? He had only one aim in his mind. Can you say what was that aim? Okay, to help Danilka, to save Danilka from the accident. The weak little girl is breathless and ready to drop. Because we know that Fiocla is a small girl. He couldn't, Terenty was walking very fast and the road was slushy and she couldn't pace up with him. She was tired as she was little girl. That's why it is mentioned she was breathless and ready to drop. But alas, they go into the count's copse. So it is mentioned, it was there in the count's copse. Danilka met with an accident. The washed trees, stripped by a gust of wind, drop a perfect waterfall upon them. The washed trees. Why the term washed trees mentioned here? Okay, as it rained, we know that before the rain, the trees, the leaves of the trees were covered or were filled with dust. But while it rained, the dust was washed away and the green color was very clearly seen. So, but what happened that time? The washed trees, stirred by a gust of wind, drop a perfect waterfall upon them. We know that even though there is no rain, after the rain, if you go outside, if you stand under a tree, if there is a wind, sometimes the drops from the leaves will fall on us. So here also the same thing happened, and the writer says that it was something like a waterfall. Terenty stumbles over stumps and begins to slacken his pace, to reduce his speed of walking. Whereabout is Danilka, he asked. Lead me to him. So even though here it is mentioned whereabout, that is in the meaning of where is Danilka? Lead me to him, show me the place where he is stuck. Fiocla leads him into a thicket, and after going a quarter of a mile, points to Danilka. A thicket refers to an area where a group of trees grow together. So Fiocla led Terenty to the spot where Danilka met with the accident. Her brother, a little fellow of 8, with hair as red as osier and a pale, sickly face, stands leaning against a tree and with his head on one side, looking sideways at the sky. So even now, he was standing there. He couldn't free his hand. He was a small boy, but he was not at all afraid. Not at all afraid. That's why he was standing there looking at the sky. In one hand, he holds his shabby old cap. Other is hidden in an old lime tree. Hidden. In which sense it is hidden? We saw. He tried to take the eggs and his hands got stuck there. The boy is gazing at the stormy sky and apparently not thinking of his trouble. He was not bothered of the trouble. He was not bothered of the accident he met with. He didn't bother the fact that his hands got stuck there in the hole of the tree. He was looking at the stormy sky. He was looking around, looking in the nature, and he was enjoying the beauty of nature. Hearing footsteps and seeing the cobbler, he gives sickly smile and says. Now he listened to the footsteps. We know that footsteps of Terenty the cobbler and Fiocla the little girl, and he saw them. And what was his response? A sickly smile and says. Why sickly? because we know that he was in a trouble, he couldn't save himself. So that's why not a pleasant smile. A terrible lot of thunder, Terenty. I have never heard so much thunder in all my life. But he was not talking about his trouble, he was not talking about his accident, he was talking about the thunder and lightning and all these things. This sentence also shows that he was not at all bothered of his problem. A terrible lot of thunder, Terenty. I have never heard so much thunder in all my life. And where is your hand? In the hall. Pull it out, please, Terenty. Terenty asked, where is your hand? And then Danilka told that it got stuck in the hole of the tree. The wood had broken at the edge of the hole and jammed Danilka's hand. He could push it farther in, but could not pull it out. The edge had broken, and we know that as the edge had broken, his hands were jammed, and if he takes it outside, if he tries to pull it outside, it will hurt further, so he couldn't take it outside, pull it out. Terenty snaps off the broken piece, and the boy's hand, red and crushed, is released. What did Terenty do? He broke off the pieces. Terenty snaps off the broken pieces. He removes the broken pieces, and now the hole was enlarged, and Danilka could take his hands outside, but it was crushed and red. It is mentioned because we know he got his hand stuck in the hole of a tree. So Terenty, the cobbler, saved Danilka from the hole of the tree. Okay, so now we have to see what will they do hereafter, how will they spend the time and all these things, but that we will discuss next class. Okay, so now what you have to do is, as every day you do, read the text many times, learn the meaning and spelling of words, and also complete the questions, side questions. Okay, thank you. We will stop for today.